What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor of having Shamrock FC fighter Wally Ufo Herndon as he prepares for his September fight for Shamrock FC. Wally, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, man. It's a good day. It's nice out. I had the day off, and just glad to be here.
Excellent. Glad to have you, man. So, obviously, for those who don't know, I mean, you're fighting out of Missouri, right?
Yes, I am. Midwest.
Now, Shamrock FC is, I mean, essentially one of the biggest promotions out of the Midwest. So, I mean, your fight in September is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Uh, now, obviously, there's like it's a weird situation everywhere, whether it be like COVID and what have you. But have you been able to? What does the scene look like? Have you been able to get like training, formal training for this fight camp?
uh, not really. That has been difficult to do to get formal training and get to an MMA gym, but at the same time, it hasn't been much different for me. I'm still very new to the sport of MMA, and I started pretty much doing a lot of in-home training. I played basketball and stuff in high school, so working out, being in shape, that always kind of came natural to me. I do a lot of running, but as far as being able to go somewhere and have heavy bags and different tools like that to work with, I didn't have that initially starting out. But then I just kind of along the way started purchasing a lot of stuff. So I have a huge assortment of equipment at home in my garage that I use and I train with. So, the only thing I'm lacking is the coaching as far as that goes. But been doing a lot of different things, working with people over Zoom and different things.
Now, obviously, having played previous sports, how does MMA training and conditioning, how does it compare to the other sports that you've played?
Um, it's it's a huge difference. MMA isn't something I ever thought I'd find myself doing. Um, One is just when you talk to people and they see you, one of the biggest questions I'm asked, one, how tall am I? Two, do you play basketball? So the reaction I get when people ask me, do I play basketball? And I say, no, I'm a cage fighter is absolutely priceless. And so growing up, that's why this is not something I ever thought I'd see myself doing. It's just not logical for someone my height to go get in a cage and try to fight somebody. But I've always kind of had a love for martial arts. I'm a big Bruce Lee fan and Chuck Norris and some of those other great legends. And, now that I look back on it and realize, how many martial arts movies I watched all the time, I always loved martial arts. I just never thought of myself as doing martial arts, if that kind of explains. But I guess getting back to that, stamina is something in cardio I really pride myself on, and being a basketball player, especially if you were a starter and you had a short bench or injuries or anything like that, you got to play for upwards of 48 minutes. So that conditioning, I definitely believe transfers over to martial arts, because at the pro level, and only if you're a main event fighter fighting championship rounds, the most you have to compete for is 25 minutes. So I think that helps me a lot. And other than that, just about every sport is the same. You go out there, if you're a competitor, you're going to compete.
Yeah, but just like Mike Tyson says, he eloquently said, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face, right? And obviously, in basketball and in baseball and other sports, that kind of penchant for brutality doesn't exist. So, I mean, walking into the gym that first day, and gloving up and sparring, was that a big transition for you?
It was a huge transition. It was very intimidating. Initially, that happened by one of my friends who was also a fighter, and he asked me to come work out because I've been complaining about not getting to the gym enough and not working out. He's like, "Man, we work out 2-3 days a week. Come work out with me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do MMA, bro. That's not the kind of workout I'm looking for." He's like, "Oh man, it's great for cardio and conditioning. You should come out and try it." I was a little bit reluctant at first, but I went out to a couple of sessions, tried it. You have to get hit. You have to take a couple of shots to the face, and before you know, okay, this isn't so bad, or this sucks. And I took a couple of shots to the face, and wasn't that bad. I just thought, earlier in life, I got into a lot of fights before school, after school, a couple during school. Luckily, I didn't get suspended for them. And.
Yeah, man, I can actually imagine the first time that I started training jiu-jitsu in Bakersfield, California, right? And it was totally foreign to me, right? Where obviously, like I'd grown up in Inglewood, California, and you don't let somebody just like take you down, right? Everybody just kind of gloves up and knuckles up and whatever. And then I didn't get tackled too hard. I mean, not tackled, but like taken down too hard. But I mean, it was like a slight judo hip throw into like an arm bar, and I was just like, what is going on here? And it can be quite unnerving, but you answer the call, and here you are, in this kind of run up to your fight for Shamrock.
Yeah, definitely. Pretty much, like it's definitely a lot different when I said I've been in fights, like you said, being tossed over and all of a sudden being thrown in an armbar. That was definitely a complete new world to me. Like, I'm used to someone throwing hands, but then being put in a position where you're helpless because someone has the ability to break your arm. It's a whole new realization of things that can happen. You think getting knocked out is the worst thing? No, it's definitely not in this sport.
Now, I mean, obviously you're a fan of Bruce Lee, right? So how does like whether it be the traditional boxing for MMA or any type of stand-up compared to what you saw in those Bruce Lee movies? Because, Bruce Lee, as many people have kind of surmised, he was one of the first mixed martial artists, not only did he develop Jeet Kune Do, but he trained in grappling with Judo Jean LaBelle, and I mean, in one of the movies, the first iteration of MMA gloves, like the fingered gloves appeared, I believe, in Enter the Dragon. So, how does the striking that you do for MMA compare to what you saw in those Bruce Lee movies?
This is kind of a question that kind of relates to, the difference between martial arts in the movies and martial arts in real life. And that's a tough question for me to answer because there's not a whole lot of actual sparring and fight sequences that you see of Bruce Lee. So it's hard to tell, obviously Jeet Kune Do is a martial art that is effective because it's still taught today. People still want to learn it. I've seen it in action, different sparring sessions, but again, I've never seen Bruce Lee do it. I've never seen him take on 3 people at once, but I saw a movie where he took on like 20. So, yeah, that's a really tough question to answer. It's something that I would almost sit down and research and write a book on or an essay before I actually gave a straight answer.
I mean, that's pretty admirable, and that is kind of the mindset of a consummate, martial artist, right? If there's if you're striking or any, get yourself in a bad way, you don't necessarily just give up or give in. You search for, the way to kind of plug that hole, so to speak.
Right.
Absolutely. So, in terms of the sport of mixed martial arts, right? I mean, obviously coming in from other sports, who in the mixed martial arts realm were you watching and be like, you know what? I want to give it, I want to put my prototyp prototypical hat in the ring and see what I can do. Was there anybody that influenced you that way?
Um, Before I actually went all in and actually decided this is something I wanted to do, there are not a whole lot of like I'd say famous or popular fighters that I looked up to that came later on. You know, here in the city I live in, Columbia, I used to go out and kick it a lot on the weekends, and I got real cool with a lot of the bouncers that work at the clubs I would go to. And one of them, Benjamin Alaska, I forgot what promotion he's fighting for right now, but he trains at the Hewlett House or Columbia Training Center, or he used to before he moved. Now he's at a bigger gym. But he was a national amateur MMA champion. So, I thought that was really cool. And I knew him personally, and getting to talk to him and see him in action live in person before, he started to blow up was pretty cool. So I looked up to people like him and, people I could see, I could touch, who I could interact with before I actually got full blown into the sport. And like my friend that got me into the sport, Sergio Robles. I look up to him a lot. He's a good friend of mine, and just him seeing potential in me really got me hyped and excited about the sport. When I finally got into it and actually had a couple of actual sanctioned bouts, I had all the friends that are in the MMA. They would tell me who to get on YouTube and search, and be like, with your body type, your phenotype, you need to study these people. And so I started looking at Anderson Silva. Right now, I like Stylebender. These are tall, lanky fighters that know how to use their reach. Even in the women's division, JJ, she's very good. One of the best strikers in the female division. I watched her takedown defense, which is something I drastically need to get better at. And her fight, her title fight, Whaley tried to take her down a number of times in that fight and couldn't get her to the ground. Um, Also, another fighter, skyscraper, Stefan Struve. You know, he's a 7-footer. So me and him are right there.
Yes.
So, and I watched him. He kind of gave me a new perspective because you think he'd be this big monster powerhouse striker, but he was very good with jiu-jitsu. He had a few submissions on his resume.
Yeah, man, the skyscraper. And well, you mentioned like, yeah, Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and that fight that she had, kind of before the quarantine. And it's so crazy because like I went to a friend's like birthday party to watch the fight with her and Zhang Weili, and my goodness, it was one of the, I mean, I definitely would say one of the fights of the year. You've got obviously Gaethje, Ferguson. There's a lot of contenders for fight of the year or just in the UFC. During this whole kind of COVID situation, but that fight with Joanna and Weili, my goodness, it was incredible.
Definitely. I've watched that fight 4 times since it happened. You know, like I said, a huge fan of JJ because of the way she's built and how she fights, and I love Whaley, especially. She's so humble and so nice, and just what she did, bringing that first championship home for China, is just absolutely amazing. I follow her on Instagram, and she's just an awesome person.
Yeah, man. All about the positivity. That's it, and also the mental toughness. She believes that she is the world champion on any given day, and whether she's got the title or not, she's got the champion's mentality. And she isn't kind of shifted by any kind of negativity that comes her way. She just, I mean, almost like a Superman through a mountain. She just goes right through it.
Definitely, definitely. I love it. She's very motivating to me, so it's awesome, man. Like she's putting in work every day, and I want to be that same type of fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of like training and what have you, where are you getting your training in? I mean, obviously before this whole COVID situation, what is your home gym?
I do not have a home gym. I'd say the primary facility that I go to when I go to the gym is Columbia Training Center. We've got a great coach here in the Columbia Training Center, Rob Hewlett. He's put on a number of fighters. The fighter I mentioned earlier, Ben Alaska, worked under him. And other than that, I go to a Gracie gym, um, but I'm not specifically flying any one banner right now. Rob's on me all the time about getting to the gym and making it consistent so he can get me where I want to be. Um, he sees a lot in me. I don't know what it is yet, but yeah, he stays on me.
Then that's got to be an incredible feeling, right? For somebody that has, had experience and earned championships in the sport and is able to kind of tutor and be your mentor, so to speak.
Definitely, definitely. Right now, I came onto the scene. My record's not the most amazing, but I think my personality has shined through a lot to where people see that, and the fights I've had have been kind of epic. It's like I've been put in some bad situations and never quit. People saw that dog and that heart in me, and so I've actually had a lot of people reach out to me who would love to get me in the gym and work with me. So it's kind of right now I'm in the process of figuring out if I want to uproot and go somewhere else in the next 6 months or so. So that's that.
And that's
Oh,
that's a cool kind of canary in the coal mine, right? In the sense that you've got some cool things coming up. Obviously, this fight, looking for even more training, in your young career up at this particular time. That's something to look forward to, and at a time where people are grasping at straws on things to look forward to. You definitely have it.
I wanted to mention earlier, backtrack a little. One of the fighters I didn't get to mention, and he's new on my radar, but I'm full bandwagon on his train. I love him. Sean Woods. He's had a couple of fights in the UFC. He just took his first loss, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, but it's all good, man. I follow him on social media as well. He's really positive about it. Can't wait to bounce back. And I like him because he's another one of those fighters. We have a similar body type. He is the tallest person at his weight class right now. Um, Creates some matchup nightmares for a few people. And so he's right in St. Louis, 2 hours away. I'm hoping I can get in contact with him and we can work out together sometime.
Yeah, man. Let's time in the social media bubble and make sure that that happens. That that Wally meets the Woods, not this Woods, the one in the UFC for sure.
Yeah. I definitely think that's something that can happen. I actually messaged him and he messaged back. So he's a humble guy and he talks to people that talk to him. And he trains out of the Wolves Den in St. Louis, which I've met a couple of the coaches and trainers there for doing Shamrock fights.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. So what can people expect when they tune into Shamrock FC on September 6th? Out of Wally Herndon.
Well, this is a rematch against a pretty tough competitor, Sean Briggs. You can expect to see excitement. Sean is a very fiery competitor. He's got a couple of fights on YouTube, so I looked those up obviously before I fought him. I think they took a couple of them off, but he's got the record for fastest Shamrock FC knockout, which I believe was 5 seconds. And I know Sean would love to do nothing more to then either beat that record or tie it. So he comes out the gate flying fast. He comes hard. I think he's got a lot of respect for his opponents, but there's usually no glove touch. And I mean, I absolutely love it. I love when I'm going up against somebody with that kind of fire who wants to take my head off, because I know I have to be on my A game and I have to bring it. The last fight went to the ground pretty quick. I'm expecting to keep it standing for a good majority of the time. I'm really working on that takedown defense until I can get my jiu-jitsu where I want it. So I want to use my strength, and I've got a huge height and read advantage on Sean. So I really want to keep it standing. I also want to keep pedal to the floor, gassing it all the time. I'm really working on my cardio. I want a very high output of striking. I don't want to give him any breathing room, any time to catch his breath. I'd like to get him out of there in the first round, but he is a tough dude. I had him in a submission for almost 2 minutes. The only reason I won that fight is he suffered an injury. So I believe that he was winning that fight. The first round definitely would have probably gone to him. He had a takedown in the second round. I kind of got him in that submission, and something happened during the scramble to cause that injury. And, that's how I took that victory. I was kind of down about that victory. A lot of people had to tell me that, hey, man, hold your head high. You won. That's what's marked in the books. And I didn't get the finish I wanted, but at the same time, one thing led to another. So I got the win. So I'm hoping that this time around I can finish it. Either we go all 3 rounds and I get the decision, or if I can finish him, that'd be great, and leave no questions.
Yeah, no question. One thing that is in question is your heart, because Brian Holt comes in. I've known Wally for quite a bit and love watching him fight. He's more interesting than a lot of other fighters in the ring. So a shout out to Brian Holt. We've got James Stickman says he really does have heart, as big as he is tall. Giving you carry and a hell of a hardworking. Keep pushing, Wally. Can't wait for the next bout. There you go. And Brian Maxwell, yeah, man, strength emojis. There you go. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for that. I'm sure Wally appreciates it, and I definitely appreciate it. So thank you guys. But yeah, man, that's cool, right? To get some support there.
Yeah, man. The people who support me in this mean the world to me. Obviously, I promote myself whenever possible because I want people to come out and support me. When I hear those cheering my name in the crowd or whatever, or, the fist bumps right before I go in the ring, it's an amazing boost. Gives me a lot of confidence. Not everybody is as supportive. The amount of support I get from family when I play basketball versus going in the cage and fighting somebody is a lot different. I've got a lot of relatives who don't want to see me get hurt or getting hurt. My uncle mentioned to me when I saw him a couple of weeks ago that, man, I was hoping you'd stop this. But honestly, he knew I wasn't going to stop. He came to one of my other Shamrock fights, and he told me while we were sitting there eating dinner, he's like, man, so when you told me about this, I said, I'm going to come out here and I'm going to watch this. I'm going to see him get hit a couple of good times, and I'm going to see him quit. But, yeah, that's what my uncle told me. And somebody who's known me for all my life thought I was going to quit. And that's okay, because I earned, as far as fighting goes, a lot of respect from him, because he saw me take some tough licks, and then he saw me keep pushing, keep driving, And that match didn't go the way I wanted to, but it was a very close loss, split decision. The judges, I think, deliberated for about 10 minutes. We were sitting there in the ring like, hey, come on, guys, man. We ready to go eat. We ready to kick it. And but, yeah, I lost that, and he told me afterward that I saw something out there that I didn't know you had in you. Much respect, you did your thing, and, you definitely ain't no quitter.
Excellent. Yeah, and then Jeremy Krutz says Wally is willing and excited to continue learning and growing in this sport. It's a big reason why he's going to go far. So thank you, Jeremy. Now I gotta
My homie right there. That's the homie.
That's the homie.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. So brilliant. Now, obviously, you were talking about the win and the last outing that you had with your opponent for September 6th. Um, After that victory, I mean, was there any? Obviously, you'd been through a tough training camp and what have you, right? So, what was the victory meal like? I mean, was it more solemn, or you're like, ah, man, I got to get a steak in me? Like, what was that? You know, what's the if it's a cheat meal or like something that you have after, like a 6 week training camp? What does that go to?
Well, that actually wasn't my last fight. There was a fight in between that fight. I fought. I'm very proud to fight in this event. They do it every year in St. Louis. It was the Budweiser Guns and Hoses. That was unreal because I fought in front of 17,000 people. To put that in perspective, John Jones' last fight at the Toyota Center was in front of 17,000 people. I had to come to that realization how many people that was. And after I finally did that, I had to come to the realization that I was the main event. So I had a lot of pressure on my shoulders. I don't want to talk too much about that fight because I want to answer your question. But if you guys get a chance, log on to Budweiser Guns and Hoses, check that out. And I know we got a lot going on with law enforcement right now, but I totally support law enforcement. That was a huge charity event to raise money for the victims of, law enforcement and first responders who had fallen in line of duty. They gave that money to their families. But yeah, that last fight, it was a catch weight bout. And I am a very slender individual. So I'm usually cutting to 170 for a fight. This fight I had to cut to 165 to make catch weight. That is extraordinarily difficult for me. I am pushing it at that point, and I feel like I have absolutely no body fat and no water in my body. So after I step on the scale and weigh in, I go pig out then. I don't even wait until the day after the fight. I pig out that night. I remember I had one of my cornermen with me, Juan Espinoza. I had a sandwich with me that I brought to the weigh-ins. I told him to guard that sandwich with his life. That if I got off the stage and he didn't have that sandwich, I was going to be fighting him. So I'm pretty serious about my food. Definitely after the fight, I just went all in. Whatever you wanted to put in front of me, shrimp, steak, potatoes, whatever, I was eating it all.
So after cutting weight and doing that whole deal, and managing to shed off that 5 pounds when your body was already kind of depleted, man. You it seems like you were on the seafood diet. Everything you saw, you ended up eating.
Oh, definitely. My diet right now isn't the best. I ate healthier a couple months ago, but I've just been through a lot of personal stuff. 2020 has been rough on everyone. I lost some family members, dealing with the pandemic, stuff like that. So a lot of good habits I had, I'm working on trying to get back into. Eating is definitely one of those. Too many trips to McDonald's, too many pizzas, stuff like that. But we're getting right. We're getting back on track where we need to be. Slowly but steadily.
That's awesome. But my condolences to you and your family over the loss of your departed family members. It's never easy to go through, especially in a fight camp.
Yeah, definitely. It was my grandmother, Dorothy Jean Barrett. She was definitely a big part of my life. That was only about 3 weeks ago, so I'm still kind of dealing with that. But she was an awesome individual. Always had a smile on her face, and I know that she will want me to keep working toward my goals and stuff that I want to do, and not be drugged down by her absence. She wants me to just move forward and be happy and do what I love. And this is what I love to do right now. So, I'm gonna dedicate this fight to her, and I'm gonna just go out there and try to get that dub for her the best I can.
That's awesome. That's so admirable, and you are essentially her legacy and testament. All of the the strife that she went through in her life and everything like that, it's good too to come out like a phoenix out of the ashes and basically stake your claim to your victories.
Definitely, man. Like I wish more people could know her and meet her. Like she went through some things in her life, and one of those things is she never stopped fighting, whether it be dealing with breast cancer or sickness or all those things. Unfortunately, during this time, she was a victim of COVID-19, and it was just one thing that she couldn't overcome. But I mean, for when she was diagnosed from the time that she passed, she fought the whole time. And I mean, there's definitely an upside to we thought she was going to make a full recovery because she started to get better, and that didn't happen. But I don't think there was a time during that where she was down on herself or negative or anything. And so I definitely take that with me in the cage. If this guy takes round one, that's okay. You still got 2 rounds to go. Get back in there and keep fighting.
Yeah, and it's that fighting spirit and tenacity that definitely lives through you, and that you hope to harness, come September for Shamrock FC.
Definitely, man. I can't wait. I would like to say. Oh, go ahead. I'll come back to it.
No, go ahead. The floor is yours, my man.
I was just gonna say another thing with the pandemic that is going on. I was supposed to fight 3-4 months ago. I couldn't wait to get back in the cage after my last fight, but they started postponing all the events when we had all the closures and stuff. And the deal with Shamrock is I'm not under contract or anything, so I can go fight with other promotions if I choose to. And Midwest Fight League is the promotion that's owned by Rob Hewlett. And, they try to get me on as many cards as possible because they do cards here in Columbia. It gives my family in Columbia a chance to come watch me fight. And the pandemic just kind of messed everything up. So I had fights with Shamrock that were postponed, kept getting postponed. Fights with Midwest Fight League postponed and postponed. So at the end of August, Midwest Fight League has a card on the 29th, and I really wanted to fight on that. So as it stands right now, 29th and the 12th, I can't risk something happening on the 29th and not being able to fight on the 12th. One, because I signed the Shamrock contract first, so I feel like I owe it to them to make sure I'm there. And 2, the 13th is my birthday, so I want to win this fight and then celebrate my birthday. So what I'm planning on doing and hoping on doing, I got to talk to my opponent and see if he's cool with it. I don't know if he will be because he's not much of a grappling guy. I want to change the match on the 29th, still compete on that card, but make it a grappling match. That way there's not much danger of me getting knocked out. Something could break, but if he manages to submit me, I'm not going to let him break my arm. I'm going to tap out. 7-day suspension. We're good to roll for Shamrock. But, yeah, that's just one of those things that people might be dealing with in the pandemic. That's just stressing things out even more.
Yeah, and that's outside the box, right? If you need to compete on 2 cards, obviously not talking about your opponent or anything like that. It's one of those where if you can really compete on this boosts your level of knowledge in the game as well as your prestige in 2 different promotions. That's amazing.
Definitely. So hopefully you didn't forget what you were about to say. I interrupted.
Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, that was it for that. I just wanted to bring that up. So much love for Midwest Fight League. So I don't want anybody there thinking I'm trying to dip out on y'all.
That's sick, man. That's sick, and we hope that could go off without a hitch. So you can celebrate your birthday in the best way possible.
Definitely, I plan on it.
There it is. Now, speaking of people to get on the track of what you're doing, Wally, where can people find you on social media?
Primarily on Facebook. I am addicted to Facebook. It's been a struggle for some years. I post way too much stuff on Facebook, personal stuff. I'm trying to limit myself to, only speaking about fighting and martial arts and that kind of thing. But I'm on all social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. But if you want to hit me up and like actually get a response, the quickest way to do that is just post on my wall on Facebook or send me a message on Messenger.
There it is. There it is. Wally, thank you so much for joining us here today, and obviously all the luck for this upcoming fight in Shamrock.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure and a privilege. I hope everybody tunes in, checks me out. Wally Ufo, September 12th is going down. Also, if everything works out, Midwest Fight League, August 29th. I hope you get in a great submission match, grappling match in. Come check me out, man. And hopefully I can come back. You interview me either after the fight or sometime later this year. I love being on different platforms, helping you grow your platform, helping me grow my platform. It's amazing. We all work together and get this done.
That's it. Let's put it into stone, man. Let's circle back. And you've got an open invitation right here at According to Wood. So let's do that. Let's put that into action.
Oh yeah, I got to give a shout out to my homie who recommended that I come on the show. So you know who I'm talking about.
Absolutely, yeah. Shout out to Everett Osler, man. You are the MVP. You've hooked up so many interviews for me, shown a spotlight to so many great fighters. Thank you, Everett. Thank you so much.
Everett is my man. He's a great dude. He is one of those people I talk to on a regular, and he said I motivate him, but he motivates me too. So thanks, buddy.
There it is. And Marcus Wallace says, all cap, UFO. That's what it is. That's what time it is.
You already know. Showtime.
There it is. Well, Wally, thank you again for joining us here at According to Woods. But I am According to Woods with Wally the UFO Herndon, and we are out. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. Catch you later.